Yeah, so that is the reason why why equity went down. Yeah, but you're right. Okay, so what about the sales revenue? Can you tell me something? Can you tell me something about the sales? Maybe one of the other students. What about Xiao Chen or Su or Shen? Can you say something about the equity, about the sales, the revenues in the last years? Did they increase? Or did they go down? They increased. Okay, so revenues increased, and I put it in an Excel sheet. Yeah. So if you look at the last years, did they increase faster than Apple's revenues or slower? Yeah, but I think about the same. Yeah, about the same. Maybe even a little bit faster, because if you look at the compound annual growth rate, I mean, this is from 2012 to 19, but here we have 10.4%. So I think in the case of Apple, it's more like 7. Yeah, and we don't have a down year in the case of Starbucks. There was no year where it went down. So the sales increased in all of those years. Yeah. Okay. What happened to net income? Okay, yeah. So the overall growth rate was even a little bit higher than sales growth, yeah, over the whole period here. But it is, again, it's more volatile. It fluctuates more. It went up more, but then it also went down in 2019. Yeah. Are there questions of? Do you that? Okay. What about the net profit margin? Is if you compare that to Apple, the net profit margin again. How is the net profit margin calculated? Can you tell me how the net profit margin is calculated? Yeah, okay. So it goes up and down a little bit. And if you compare it to Apple, is it higher or lower? I think in case of if you want to bear capital 20. Yeah. Was 8% at the last year we have about 15%. This is low, but this is bad. 6% is not. Okay, about the do you something which do you see that in the operating cash flow that it went up very fast in 2018? It was very high in 2018. Yes. So this is a kind of a special situation, and the reason is that Starbucks sold a license to Nestle, and the license that Nestle is allowed to sell Starbucks products in the supermarkets. Yeah, so the consumer goods division, which is the products in the supermarket, they can be sold by Nestle. Yeah, and that's why the operating cash flow actually went up in 2018 quite dramatically. This is a one-time effect. Yeah, but all in all, the growth rate of the operating cash flow is also quite high. So these are all high growth rates for such a large company. I mean, Starbucks is one of the biggest companies in the world. Yeah, and if you have growth rates of about 14, 15, 16%, this is really good. Yeah. So can spend it is what Starbucks investing into the business. Yeah. So this is, for example, when they open furniture, and machines and all these things. That is about one third of the operating cash flow. Yeah. Do you see that here? Are you with me? You have to tell me if you have questions. Yeah. But I have to. You really have to tell me if you do not understand something, then you have to tell me. It's very important. Then we see total assets. It increased over the year. It is especially it increased in the last 2 to 3 years. Yeah, it increased. Yes, share down, and the equity went down is because it did buybacks. We just talked about this. They did a massive amount. Where are the dividends? Can you see the dividends? How much? Yeah, cash dividends paid. Do the others is it right? For example, to net income. Yeah, if you compare it to the net income. Yeah, here's the net income. So that's it's. I mean, it's about 50%. It's not really low, but it's much lower than share buybacks. Yeah. Do you have questions about that? No, because it's important that you understand it, and it's okay if you do not understand to ask. Because I mean, I have to, of course, so if you have any questions, no problem to me. We can discuss. But you have to ask me now. If you have any question, if you say, okay, there's something not there, then feel free to return on equity equals net income. Yeah, net income divided by equity. Yeah, so this is the formula, divided by shareholders' equity. So what happened in 2018? 2018, we have a very high return on equity, but why is the case? Because income is, see that? Yeah. Shareholder equity is, so net income is high. That's the numerator, and is low, and that return on equity is very high. It's very high. Does that make sense now? That makes sense. Yeah. And in 2019, it's even negative. Yeah, recent years, of course, share and the reason is they use long-term debt for repurchases. Yeah, so they finance their repurchases, their buybacks. They finance their buybacks with long-term debt. Yeah. Yeah. So they have so which is it. Yeah. They need money to transit. But if you that to the so he doesn't change it by the by the business. Yeah. So much money business. And that's why they issue additional long-term debt. Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Are you with me? Okay. Good. Then look at earnings per share and the growth rate of earnings per share. If you how did earnings per share here? If you look at that, how did earnings per share develop? And compared to net income. What has increased faster? What has increased faster? Is it earnings per share? Is the growth rate of earnings per share faster, or is it net income? Yeah, it's earnings per share. And why? Why do earnings per share grow faster than net income? Exactly. Yeah, buybacks. Very, very good. Yeah. Is that clear for the? If you can, no problem. But if there's if understanding to me now. Did you? Okay. No opens. Okay. Look up the stock price of stuff. Please look up the stock price of Starbucks. What is the stock? Okay. Today, Starbucks stock price is 76.47. So then, $76. The 46. So this is today's stock price. Then please calculate the PE ratio, the price earnings ratio. How is the price earnings ratio calculated? Price, the share price, divided by earnings per share. Divided by 2.92 is 26. So it is okay. It's rather expensive. It's rather expensive. Okay. It's maybe it's not as expensive as Apple. Yeah. If you compare it, what was Apple's PE ratio again? $31. So Apple is even more expensive. So if you compare the two companies, Apple and Starbucks, from a financial perspective, what would you say? Which of those is the better company? Okay, you think Apple is better? Apple has higher profit margins. Yeah, so they had about 20% net profit margins. But in the last years, I think sales and net income and even operating cash flow grew faster in the case of Starbucks. Yeah. But Apple, you're right, is more profitable. Yeah. They both buy back a lot of shares. Both buy back a lot of shares. Maybe Starbucks even a little bit more. Yeah. And Starbucks issues new debt to finance the share repurchases, what Apple has not done. Yeah. But both do a lot of share buybacks. Yeah. Apple has, if you compare Apple to Starbucks, Apple has more cash and marketable securities on the balance sheet. Yeah. Do you agree? Yes. And the stock is in both cases, the stock is not cheap. Yeah. In both cases, the stock is not cheap. Starbucks is even is a little bit cheaper maybe from a PE. If you look at the PE, yeah. So Apple has an even higher price earnings ratio. Yeah, because maybe the investors, they like Apple even more than Starbucks, and that's why they drive the price even higher. Yeah, if you compare the stock price of Starbucks and Apple, and you see that in the last, let me have a look. In the last year or so, Apple has increased much faster. Yeah. So here you see that the Apple stock price over 1 year. Do you see that? The stock price here. Yeah. So Apple has increased. This is 1 year, and if you compare that to this Starbucks over 1 year, it has actually decreased. Yeah, it has decreased. Yeah, here you see the COVID crisis. Yeah, see that, the COVID crisis, and in the COVID crisis, the share price has gone down. In the case of Apple, it has also gone down at the beginning of the COVID crisis, but since then, the beginning of the COVID crisis had also gone down a little bit. Yeah, this in February and March, it has also gone down, Apple, but the rebound has been so good since then. Then it's higher today than before the crisis, actually, before the COVID crisis. Yeah. Okay. So does that make sense? Okay, clear. Good. Do you have any questions left to our analysis, to Apple, to Starbucks, to the ratios? Are there any questions? No questions? Okay. Anything? If there's anything not clear, you have to tell me. Okay. Then I would say have a nice evening or afternoon, and we see each other tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 9 a.m. So see you tomorrow.